Today, I'm giving you my first impressions on a recent release called Grapefruit, coming right up. Hello and welcome to the Latherhog channel, where we bring you all things wet shaving. I'm your host John, and today we're doing a first impressions shave video with Grapefruit, and this is a recent collaboration between Southern Witchcrafts and Australian Private Reserve. Now, as I mentioned, Grapefruit was recently released, and this one flew off the shelves within minutes from multiple vendors, as well as the Southern Witchcraft site itself. Now, while Grapefruit is not a limited edition, there are some restrictions, constraints, in that Australian Private Reserve provides a fragrance. And with the current state of international shipping, even domestic shipping really, that's proven quite a challenge. So while this initial run went fast, I do think the idea is to bring this out in future batches. Now, I can't move on without mentioning the awesome artwork on the label here. Southern Witchcrafts has always gone with a kind of gothic horror type theme, both in the scents they provide as well as the label artwork. And I think this just goes along with that theme perfectly. I mean, just look at that. Some muted colors, a skull, and of course, some blood splatter up in the corner. And the artwork looks fantastic both on the soap tub as well as the aftershave splash itself. It's a nice way to tweak the design. Now, before moving on to the shave, I'd love your help in supporting the channel by hitting that like, comment, and subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. All right, now for the razor today, I had to go along with that dark spooky theme. I picked up the Tatara Masamune Dark, and this one's loaded with a Gillette Silver Blue. Absolutely love this razor. And for my shaving brush, we're going with Wild West Brushworks. This one's nicknamed Belfour. Black, white, red, kind of smeared all over, very nicely complementing the Grapefruit label. And this one I have a Game Changer or Boss knot, synthetic knot, 26 millimeters. Really love this knot as well. So I'll go ahead and load the brush off camera and we'll come back for the face lather. All right, so here we went with a 30-second load, you can see, and I put some of the proto lather onto my face already, and we'll just get that started. Now, I think this is the first time I'm using Southern Witchcrafts on the channel, so in addition to giving you my first impressions, let me give you just some background info as well. So Southern Witchcrafts is a vegan soap, and actually it is a fantastic one at that. I would say it's a bit of a sleeper hit. There definitely should be more people talking about this soap. It's vegan, but it easily hangs with some of the best tallow soaps out there. As I said before, Southern Witchcrafts has a very strong thematic element to it. And to match this kind of darker, gothic horror kind of theme, a lot of the scents are also, that's where the inspiration comes from, and they wind up being on the darker side. Not only on the darker side, but I would say it stays very, very unique. I went with a 30-second load here, and I think I'm gonna have more than enough lather. I'll be sure to include the soap ingredients, but it's one of those where upon application, you can just feel the butters, which are there for skin nutrition. Now, the soap itself was about medium firmness. Takes a little bit to indent the soap, but so it's not super soft by any means. Now, it's been a while since I used Southern Witchcrafts, but this base can really take a lot of water. And granted, I might have loaded heavily, as I mentioned before. But it was just extremely buttery and thick from a 30-second load. This is still looking really dense. You can see it's low volume. It's not a big, pillowy, fluffy cloud of a lather. But as I mentioned the butters before, I think this is going to be super slick once we get into the shave. All right, took a bit to get here, but we're ready for the first pass with the Tatara Masamune Dark. Oh yeah, the slickness, as I mentioned, or as I guessed, is there. and then some. All right, so I talked a bit about the soap. Now let's talk more on the scent. So grapefruit, and I keep wanting to say grapefruit. So if I do drop a grapefruit instead of a grapefruit, I do apologize in advance. But as I was saying before, Southern Witchcrafts typically has very dark scents. This one is not a dark scent by any means, however. I do think dark scents can be more challenging depending on the nose. This one is much more mass appealing. It's got up front some sweet citrus, and that's accompanied by some woody and floral notes just to help kind of round it out. Now the funny thing is, knowing the themes of Southern Witchcrafts and even the scents that Australian Private Reserve tends to go for, I was still expecting brightness given the name, but I thought there'd be more dark notes maybe as a counterbalance. But this one stays fairly light, and I would say it's easily likable. Now the kind of citrus it is, sometimes you'll get a scent that's more on the naturalistic side. You know, it's just trying to be straight up grapefruit, orange, or lime. I would say this one is a little harder to differentiate. It's not so much that food type smell, but it's definitely a fragrance that's been developed for you to wear. The sweetness, the way it's just blended kind of smoothly together. I know some people are chasing a more straightforward fruit type scent, but I would say this one is kind of hinting at that fruitiness, but blending it together with all these other things to make a complete, more complex fragrance. Now before I forget, let me throw those official scent notes up for you, as it's quite the list, and you can kind of compare what I'm saying against the different notes, some of which you might be familiar with and some might be new to you. So the sweetness, I've come to learn that there's different ways to describe kind of that sugariness, but sweet smells in general tend to be, as long as it's not too much, it tends to be more mass appealing. And this one is more on the candy side as far as the type of sweetness, but I think it is nicely balanced as far as the actual grapefruit scent. Also, I did mention before complexity, but don't get me wrong, this is not in a complex, alienating way. Sometimes when people hear a complex scent, they immediately shut off to it because it just smells like a mess of notes. I can't say enough that this one is easily likable, and if you go by kind of seasonal wearing of scents at all, given the lighter nature, the heavy focus on citrus, this one's perfect in warmer weather, spring or summer. I'm really enjoying this lather. I'll definitely go with a lighter load next time. And after lathering for the second Against the Grain pass, I would say that this is probably medium thirst or slightly above average thirst for a soap base. It's also funny that more of the florals come out. Off the top of my head, I forget which are the specific floral notes, but it comes out in a very pleasant way as the shave has gone on. I don't specifically pick out woody notes, but usually in these kind of scents, woodiness, whether it be sandalwood or some other kind of wood, it's just trying to help fill out the foundation of the scent. It's not necessarily there for your nose to pick out specifically, but it helps give these brighter notes, the citrus, the florals, some legs, some longevity. All right, now I'm gonna finish off with the splash. But great all-around shave. Like I said, this is a bit of a sleeper hit as far as Southern Witchcrafts themselves. If you're at all intrigued by my description of the artisan, they have a lot more scents to offer. in various degrees of complexity, and they do offer samples, so I can't stress enough, give their soaps a try, find a scent you like. I almost forgot to mention that the splash itself is a witch hazel base, alcohol-free, fairly straightforward ingredient list here as well, so I think it's a perfect way to further extend the scent, as well as provide some nourishment and relief for your skin. Alright guys, let me know in the comments below if you've tried Southern Witchcrafts, and if so, what's your favorite scent? Otherwise, that's gonna do it for today's shave. Again, overall great experience, can't recommend it enough. As far as the scent itself, again, the expectation, and this is all on me, is I thought there'd be some darkness to the scent, just given the people who are working on it, as well as the name Grapefruit. But I would say this actually stays on the lighter side. Very accessible. First and foremost, if you like sweet citrus scents, this is a great offering for you. If you're scared at all by my mention of florals, don't be. It is a secondary player to this, adding a little bit of nuance, but in the end, very enjoyable. And again, the scent side of Grapefruit is thanks to Australian Private Reserve, so great job there. Now at the time of this recording, I do remember seeing on the Instagram page for Southern Witchcrafts that another small batch is due. They found a little more fragrance and are able to make a couple more soaps. Otherwise, Southern Witchcrafts is kind of at the mercy of international shipping and just the time it takes, the delays that inevitably come. So keep an eye on their social media. I know they want to make more for whoever wants it, so keep your eyes out for future drops. Well, thank you guys for joining me for today's shave. I hope you found these first impressions helpful. I just want to wish a happy 4th of July weekend for those in the US. And for everyone, I hope you take care, and I'll see you next time.